let me introduce myself. I'm Maria Maltezou. I'm the daughter of Yannis Maltezos, who started Strofilia with Achilleas Lamsidis. So the two friends were electric engineers, and they decided that this is not what they were supposed to do in life. They were supposed to do bigger stuff and maybe something more with more love and creation. So at 1980 they decided to replant my father's family estate. They started about with 25 hectares of Cabernet Sauvignon and Uni Blanc. So they went within the viticulture industry, trying to create wine with love and little knowledge at first. I think that the knowledge came with the practice. So it's how Strofilia was created. The history of my family was really about viticulture at the beginning, and then my father just started growing the winemaking story of our family. So Strofilia is actually a real word in Greece. It means a wooden traditional press that they used to make wine with. So it actually was handmade, and it was all about natural making, wine making back then. Now things have evolved, of course. Now we have two wineries. We have one in the Attica region and one in Peloponnese, and the story goes on from there. Although they started, my father and Achilleas started with international varieties, as I said before, like Cabernet Sauvignon and Uni Blanc. In a very short while, they realized that they had to take advantage in a good way of the land of Attica and the fruits and the grapes that have the typical characteristic of the land. So Sabatiano was a Greek variety, a native Greek variety that really combines all the typical characteristics of Attica land. So there was, they really trusted on this variety, and they use it really quickly to make Strofilia white. We also use Malagousia here in the Attica region, so I think Malagousia and Sabatiano are the main varieties we now cultivate in Attica. Malagousia is actually a privately owned vineyard we now have next to our winery in Anavissos. So we have two locations. We are in Attica and in Peloponnese. So the land actually guides us as to which varieties we're going to use. Here in Attica, Sabatiano and Malagousia show very good typical characteristics of the land and of the coastal region, because we are near the sea. In Peloponnese there are so many different varieties, and it depends of the place and the altitude of each vineyard. So we can find Agiourgitico. Peloponnese is very known for Agiourgitico grape. So it's Agiourgitico, maybe Moscato, maybe Malagousia from a high altitude, which has different characteristics of Malagousia from Attica. And that's really interesting, because in Greece we have different soils, slopes, different altitudes, climate conditions. So talking about the altitudes, I can say that maybe Strofilia's winery in Asprokabos, Nemea, is maybe located higher than every other winery, and the vineyards are higher than every other vineyard near the area. So it's more than 750 meters. That is very important for the winemaking. So as higher as you go, the typical characteristics of the varieties change. So maybe you have more crispy taste, or the aromas maybe more citrusy, or some different fruit you can find in these high altitudes. So our wines from vintage to vintage, we try not to make big difference because we have some trends and some quality standards we want to follow. It depends though from the climate change. So if we have a good year, it's more easy for us and for our enologists to follow the procedures and make sure that, for example, Strofilia White keeps the local characteristic of the land and the aromas we want. When we have a difficult year, we have to be more careful. If we have, the rains and the hail and the cold weather, we have to be really careful and harvest it sooner, or make sure that during the harvest we don't damage the grapes, so we're going to have the result we want. The history of Attica region goes really, really back. So I think that since forever people here used to cultivate vineyards and they used to, make wine. The things that have changed through the years, I think it's the knowledge and the experience we have and the tools, the science has given us. So the thing that we have done is that we have evolved the history, and we have, I think we have better wines and better knowledge about how to make the wines and how to take care of our vineyards. Peloponnese as well. I think Attica and Peloponnese, because it's the two areas that Strofilia is now cultivating its vineyards. I think that they go very back in time, and that has helped us evolve the vineyards and the winemaking methods. So when we make wine, we have philosophy of the final result. It's like, for us, wine is a memory. It's like an experience. We want to see it as of two people getting together and enjoying life. So we want to be part of that memory. So the philosophy of winemaking is actually people knowing each other and spending time with each other. So it's more important for us to know that the hard work and the teamwork we have behind Strofilia is about loving each other and the time we spend with each other and the love about our grapes, either than anything else. Like the wine you're gonna like, I know, because in Greece we make good wine. All winemakers, I think, are on the same pace right now. But the philosophy of each winery is different, and the love maybe and the teamwork is different. For us, is the memories you create with us. So if you drink a bottle of Strofilia, that day that you did that, you were a part of us, and we were a part of you. That's the essence of us. Our philosophy in life is, I think, that making things better than they used to be, like trying to see the world in a different way every time, but at the same time putting something more than you had before. I think that as a winemaker, I want to make better wines in the whole concept of making a better world. Well, if you make better wines in your job, maybe you'll be a better person in your life, and so that's the whole concept of it. The soil plays a very important part in the terroir of the wines. Here in Attica, maybe we could say that the morphology of the soil and the climate combines, gives the advantages of the typical local land, so they give the characteristics to the wines. And the coastal region really helps to that. So we could say maybe clay and maybe some alkaline soils, and most of it in Attica and in Peloponnese as well. When I'm not working with wine, I guess I'm thinking about wine. Maybe I do, but I'll tell you something. I have 2 kids, so I think my life couldn't be fullest at this point. So I'll tell you another truth about winemakers. So although they have kids, most of them, the wines are their kids. So I think that is all about wine, even if we are not working with wine. It's a crazy thing. I think right now it's about working and thinking of wine. The most important decisions we have to make in all this time we have been making wine, I think it has to do with the wine trends, and when we decided to do a rebranding of our image. You have to really think these things through, because it really represents who you are. So I know that sometimes the most important thing is it's like the juice, it's like the wine inside the bottle, but what you have to express, it's how you look as well. So the branding and the image of the bottle is very important for us. So maybe the most difficult decisions were when me and my father and Achilleas had to be on the same page on how we express the bottles to the crowd. Similarities and differences with our winery and other wineries in the region, I think that the thing that we have conquered through the past 10 years is that we are all on the same pace. I think that winemakers right now in Attica do really hard work, and the quality standards are really high. So I think we are like a big group of like relatives that we try to elevate Greek wine and Attica wine. So I don't think we have differences. We have only one goal, to make good wines and to respect Attica land and make the wines, have the soul of the land and the characteristics of it. Of course, I can say that each region, and for example, in Attica, maybe you don't have these differences in altitudes, and but in Peloponnese, in Asprokabos, the place we are, which we produce the 90% of our wineries come from Peloponnese right now, so only 10% of our wines are from Attica region. So Peloponnese has a really different kind of soil and slopes and altitudes. So Asprokabos is in a very high altitude, maybe the highest in Greece. So that really comes through the taste. So you can really feel the difference, because the altitude can give you like more, more crispiness, and it can be more real. In the acidity can be stronger and things like that. So right now we really invest in the exports. 30% of our production is being exported. It's very important for us to export Greek wine and spread the news about Greek culture and Greek native varieties. So as long as we do that, as I hope the 30% becomes 50% and 70%, we want not only Greek people that live in America or in other countries. We want foreigners to enjoy Greek wine and Greek culture, and enjoy the history of what we have to offer. You can also find Strofilia and our wines in GreekWineTrips.com.